Okay, so we're back in the Chofetz Chaim lesson a day. This is day 62 from his work, Sefer Chofetz Chaim. This lesson is called Harming a Student. So it says, finally, a teacher must be careful not to cause his student undue harm. Halacha permits a teacher to strike a child for educational purposes. And I have to say that I believe the halacha is that you can't use anything bigger than the size of your thumb. An embarrassment may also be justified, for if it is for the student's benefit. So the Talmud states that striking one's older child is prohibited as it may incite him to hit back. So that is something that parents actually have to be very cognizant of. That for children of certain ages, you do not want to use any sort of physical discipline at all, because then they think that whenever something doesn't go the way that they want, that they need to use some sort of physical retaliation. And it's actually instilling the wrong values instead of the right values. So there are certain ages when it is actually extremely difficult and you can't do anything. You just have to show them that calm and patience. Yeah. But anyway, however, in today's era of brazenness, corporal punishment, even in early childhood, often teaches violence rather than discipline. Exactly what I just said. And must be carefully evaluated. Verbal abuse by a teacher can have a decidedly negative effect on his students and may undermine all efforts at educating the students regarding shmirat halashon, so guarding your speech. In any situation where embarrassment or physical punishment might result from the teacher relating the student's problem to others, he may do so only if the consequences are necessary for the student's growth and development. As mentioned above, day 26, teachers must also bear in mind the long-term effects of relating or recording negative information about a student. And it's even possible that if the student or the child is before bar mitzvah age, if you do something to wrong them, you actually cannot get appropriate forgiveness. Like, they can't appropriately forgive you of that wrong that you did against them until they're bar mitzvah, until they're of the age to be accountable to the mitzvot. There are stories about rabbis that has happened to, where they recognize that, and at their bar mitzvah, they went and asked them forgiveness for something that they did to them when they were a child, something they said or something like that, like embarrassment, just like we're talking about here. So, and that's something that person, that rabbi had to maintain at the front of his mind, that he can't actually get complete forgiveness for, and that he had to completely keep that in his mind, so that when that child was of the age, he immediately went to them and asked them for forgiveness. And it was such a big event, it was such a big lesson to everybody that was at the bar mitzvah, that it was a great rectification, because it taught all these other people that they weren't even aware of that idea. So anyway, in the margin it says, one should train himself to avoid idle conversation in the synagogue and study hall. So I offer the following advice to anyone who seeks... This is from his work, Sefer Shmirat Halashon. This lesson is called Sound Advice. So he says, I offer the following advice to anyone who seeks to guard his tongue from speaking the forbidden. Train yourself to refrain from engaging in any conversation while in a Beit Midrash, so a house of study, or Beit Knesset, which is the house of assembly, the synagogue. The benefits of this practice are many. One fulfills the great mitzvah of displaying respect for the awesome sanctity of these places. Number 2, his Torah study is untainted by disruption. See day 61. That's yesterday's. And in his prayers are likewise uninterrupted and not lacking even one Amen or Yehei Shmei Rabbah, each a priceless, irreplaceable treasure. Conversely, to disregard these responses is a serious sin. So basically, he's not interrupted. He's not his attention is not taken off of what he's supposed to do. Okay, number 3, the average Jewish male spends approximately 4 hours a day in the Beit HaKnesset. Interesting. I don't know if we spend that much time in there anymore. This was 1800s. But anyway, the average Jewish male spends, or late 1800s, early 1900s, the average Jewish male spends approximately 4 hours a day in the Beit HaKnesset. So the synagogue for 3 daily prayers. This figure takes into account the fact that most people remain in the synagogue, studying and praying privately for a while after the prayer has ended. He spends another 2 hours in the Beit HaMidrash, the study hall, a total of 6 hours, or 1/4 of each 24-hour period. Thus, one who scrupulously avoids idle conversation in halls of divine service is assured of having spent at least 1/4 of his lifetime on this earth engaged in Torah study and prayer, and having avoided all forms of forbidden speech. That's very interesting, because I've mentioned before, like, if you have the time to do this, like, not everybody can do this because of jobs and everything else and responsibilities in life. But if you go through your Siddur and you do all the prayers throughout the day, and you do the complete order, the complete nusach that you have, it will take up the majority of the words that come out of your mouth during the day will be words of Kedusha. So that's something to think about. So, number 4, having trained oneself to avoid conversation for these 6 hours, one will find it relatively easy to refrain from speaking Lashon Hara the remainder of the day. So, that's something to keep in mind. And it doesn't, if you have a job and there's stuff that you have to do to work, I mean, if you're allowed and permitted, put on lectures, find stuff that you can learn from, whether it's somebody reading a book, somebody giving a shiur, a Torah lesson, and just go through it. The more you can gather in, you're enhancing your life. You cannot lose. You cannot lose by doing that. And some people will say, well, if you learn from all kinds of different directions, you'll get confused about things. No, you might have some questions early on as why this person says this and this person says that. But ultimately, you will get a very thoroughly wonderful education. It's amazing at how much time an observant Jew spends studying Torah subjects. Probably, if it was the equivalent to secular education, it would be doctorate degree upon doctorate degree upon doctorate degree. So fill your life up with it. Fill your life up with Torah, knowledge, tefillah, prayer. So, okay, have a wonderful day.